Joined the Antique Outboard Motor Club.
I like.
Introduce yourself.
My name's David Bartlett.
Yes, right.
I'm a pharmacist. I'm 62 years old. I know I don't look it, but anyway, I've been playing with mechanical things my whole life. My grandfather was very generous with his time, got me into fixing things at an early age, mostly stuff that my older cousin took apart, and he had no idea what he was doing, so my grandfather would take me and we would put it back together. And so I got...
So were you a favorite of your grandfather or something like that?
I don't know about that. I just had more, I wasn't as ADD, so I had more patience and more focus. I was easier to keep corralled, I guess. And so, as I said, he retired early. He was a machinist and master mechanic, and he gave me a lot of his time. And I've not looked back. I've been playing with stuff, you know, antique cars, any kind of car, fixing my own cars, forever, you know, since I was, 12 or 13 years old. And the antique outboards are just a continuation, so to speak. And one of the things that I've done, I inherited from my grandfather a Pacific Pumper fire pump. It's two Johnson A power heads bolted together. So it's a flat 4 two-stroke Navy fire pump, or a Forest Service fire pump. And it's one of the things he could never get going, and I since managed to get it going. So I'm proud of that. You know, something that I got from him that I was able to make work. But I don't know.
So what attracted you to the Antique Outboard Motor Club, though? I mean, what was it like when you...
Oh, I just...
How did you A, first hear about it, then how did you think when you joined it? Were they a bunch of stuck-up guys, or were they a bunch of idiots, or just a bunch of loose screws like we all are?
I found a lot of guys like me, that maybe had a screw loose, but, they had a common desire to play with antique outboards, to keep them going, to make them, to use them. I'm not a collector in the sense that I, get a motor, polish it up, and put it in the corner of my living room and just admire it. If it doesn't run and I can't use it on a boat, then I'm not interested. I like to have a nice looking motor on my boat if possible. Don't get me wrong, but I use what I own, and I see no point in having 100 motors in the barn if I can't use them. If I can use all 100 of them, great, give me 100. If I can only use 10, give me 10. I can't remember exactly how I found the AOMCI and then subsequently the Pine Tree Club, but I think it was probably an internet search looking for some parts for a motor that I have, and I probably stumbled across it. And I remember this meet here in Saco, Sandish on the Saco, was the first pine tree meet that I ever came to about 4 or 5 years ago. And
really? So it's been a very short period of time since you...
maybe 5 years.
All right.
And I'm pretty sure I met you, I met Bill, I met David, and I paid my dues, and I haven't, I've been coming ever since, so to speak.
All right.
But, you guys are a good bunch. And
we don't give you too hard a time, huh?
No, you don't give too hard a time. You don't look down on me for running Johnsons as opposed to Mercuries, and vice versa. So, and as you know, I got a couple of Mercuries in my herd, some Johnsons, some weird stuff, but that's what makes it fun. Doing something different, pulling a different one out of the pile and putting some gas in it, and seeing what happens.
It'd be nice if it was that easy. I know very well, David, that you do a lot better job than that. It takes a lot of work to get them running.
Yeah, sometimes.
That it came out of the tree not this way.
That's David's engine up there in the back of that. That's not exactly what you call an easy engine to work on. Quite complicated. What is it, a
That's
PO?
a 48 PO 15.
What you're seeing are the rings. Okay.
Nice.